I spoke English for the first time. And everyone laughed at me. I still remember that day. Not the date. Not the time. But the feeling. The sharp heat in my chest. The sound of laughter all around me. The burning in my eyes as I tried not to cry. That was the first time I ever spoke English in public. And that was also the first time I felt truly alone. We had moved to a new country just a few weeks earlier. Everything looked different. Everything sounded different. And everyone around me spoke a language I didn't understand. English. It filled the air like music I had never heard before. Fast. Loud. Sharp. People spoke it on the street. In the stores. On the bus. Even the kids playing outside used it like it was their first breath. But for me it was noise. I had studied a little English in school back home. We learned words like apple, book, and hello. But no one taught me how to use English in real life. No one showed me how it feels to be surrounded by it. Like waves crashing over your head when you don't know how to swim. My first day of school was terrifying. I walked into the classroom with my hands shaking. I kept my eyes low, afraid to look at anyone. My name felt too big in my mouth. And my voice felt too small in the room. The teacher smiled at me kindly. "Would you like to introduce yourself?" she asked. I froze. I knew what I wanted to say. I had practiced it the night before. But in that moment, everything left my brain. Only silence remained. Slowly, I stood up. My heart was beating louder than my voice. I tried. I really tried. "Hi. My name is. I from, sorry. I no speak good." And then they laughed. It wasn't everyone. But enough. I heard it. The giggles. The whispers. The smirks. One boy even said, "What is she trying to say?" My cheeks turned red. I sat down quickly and stared at my desk. I didn't move for the rest of the class. Not even to blink. Later that day, I hid in the bathroom during lunch. I locked the door. Sat on the closed toilet. And cried quietly into my arms. I wasn't crying just because they laughed. I was crying because I felt like a joke. Like I didn't belong. And the worst part? I started to believe them. At home, I told my mom that school was fine. She looked at me and smiled, proud. She didn't know I had broken into 1,000 tiny pieces that day. I didn't want her to worry. She had already left so much behind to bring us here. That night, I stared at the ceiling in bed. I whispered to myself in my own language. I will never speak English again. And for a while, I didn't. The next few weeks were a blur of silence. I went to school like a ghost. I listened, but I didn't speak. I smiled politely, but I never joined the conversations. I ate lunch alone. Walked home alone. Felt alone. People stopped noticing me. And part of me liked it that way. Because when no one sees you, no one laughs at you. Then something unexpected happened. One evening, I walked into the living room and saw my little brother watching cartoons. He was laughing and repeating after the characters. He didn't care if he said the words wrong. He just played. I sat down beside him, still wearing my school uniform. And for the first time, I listened closely. The cartoon was simple. Bright colors. Big smiles. Short, clear sentences. "Hello, I'm Dora. Can you say backpack?" My brother shouted, "Backpack." He was 5. And he was already speaking better English than me. It stung. But it also sparked something. Maybe I didn't need textbooks. Maybe I just needed a new way. That night, after everyone went to sleep, I turned on the same cartoon. I lowered the volume, got close to the screen, and copied every word. At first I felt silly. "Say map. Say map. Map," I whispered. It felt like I was talking to a friend. A silly, animated friend, but a kind one. That was the beginning. Every night after that, I watched a new episode. Dora, Peppa Pig, Blue's Clues. Then I moved to slightly harder ones. I mimicked the voices. Paused and repeated. Spoke out loud when no one was around. I even started writing down the words I heard. One day. Tree. Behind. Where is it? Next day. Run. Let's go. Faster. It was like learning music. Rhythm. Emotion. Sound. And slowly, I was changing. At school, I still didn't speak much. But I began to understand more. When someone asked, "Do you need help?" I could nod yes, and know what they meant. When someone said, "Good morning," I smiled and whispered it back. Tiny steps. But they were mine. After a few months, a girl in my class named Sarah started sitting near me. She was quiet too. But she had kind eyes. One day, she shared her sandwich with me at lunch. I said, "Thank you." And she smiled. Later she asked, "Do you like music?" I hesitated, then nodded. "Why yes," I said. Just one word. But it opened a door. Sarah became my first friend. And the first person I wasn't afraid to speak to. We would talk after school. She spoke slowly for me. She taught me slang words. I taught her words from my language. It was beautiful. She never laughed at my mistakes. She always waited patiently. She helped me believe I could do this. And because of her, I started to believe in myself again. The year continued. And so did my secret practice. Now it wasn't just cartoons. I started watching YouTube videos. English teachers online. Funny vlogs. Simple movies with subtitles. I spoke out loud every day. Even if it was just in front of the mirror. "Hello, my name is Amina. I like pizza. My favorite color is blue." Again and again. Until the words felt natural. Until they became part of me. Then one afternoon, something happened that changed my life. My English teacher announced a small school event. A culture day. Students could volunteer to share something from their country. Songs, clothes, stories, food, and speeches. I wanted to hide. But before I could escape the room, the teacher called my name. "Amina, would you like to say something about your country?" Every eye turned to me. My heart raced. I opened my mouth, ready to say, "No thank you." But instead, I said, "Okay." My throat tightened. I made mistakes. A lot. But I kept going. Another pause. I let the silence breathe. And now, today, I'm here. Speaking English. On a stage. I looked out over the crowd. Not hiding. Not shaking. Just being. I want to say thank you. I looked at my teacher. Her hands were folded at her heart. Thank you to the people who believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. I turned to the students. And I want to say this, if you're learning English, if you're scared, please don't stop. My voice grew stronger. Even if your voice shakes. Even if you make mistakes. Even if people laugh. I stood up straighter. Because every word you speak is a step forward. Even the broken ones. My voice shook. But not from fear. From something else. Pride. "If I can do it," I said slowly, "so can you." The last word echoed. And for the first time I smiled. Not just with my lips. But with my whole heart. The room clapped. Not the kind of clapping that ends quickly. Not the kind you give out of politeness. But the kind that feels like a hug. Warm. Real. Full. I saw the teacher wiping her eyes. Sarah jumped up from her seat and clapped until her hands turned red. Some students stood with her. Others just smiled. Quietly. Me. I felt light. Like something heavy had finally fallen away. I walked off stage slowly. And as I stepped behind the curtain, tears filled my eyes. Not from shame this time. But from relief. And joy. I had done it. Not just the speech. But the journey. The girl who cried in the school bathroom was now the girl who spoke with courage. That day, I didn't just speak English. I spoke my truth. I let go of the fear that had tied my tongue. Of the shame that had made me hide. Of the pain from the day I was laughed at. And I saw something I hadn't seen before. how far I had come. Now, whenever someone tells me, I'm too scared to speak English, I feel their fear. Because I was them. And I say, I know. I really do. But speak anyway. Even if your voice is soft. Even if the grammar is wrong. Even if someone rolls their eyes. Because the truth is, the first time hurts. The second time gets better. And one day, you'll speak so clearly, people will stop and listen. Not because your English is perfect, but because you are powerful. So if you're watching this right now, holding back your voice, waiting until you're ready, don't wait. Speak. Practice. Mess up. Laugh at yourself. Then try again. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be brave. You are not a joke. You are not invisible. You are not behind. You're just becoming. A story in motion. And every time you speak, your story moves forward. So don't stop now. Keep going. The world is waiting to hear your voice.